Hi, it's Dolphina and I'm back with another review. This time it's a horror survival game called Loco Parentis. If you enjoy the review, then like and subscribe below. We also have a US and UK copy of the game to give away, more details later. So grab that ghost-busting equipment and follow me. The storyline begins when you move into a new apartment and a message suggests that when you go out you might like to meet your neighbours. As you leave the apartment, a creepy girl is standing in the hallway and asks you to help her find her mother. Thus starts the first chapter called The Crone. The little girl runs down the stairs and is grabbed at the bottom by an old woman and dragged into her apartment. Having witnessed the abduction, you then feel obliged to rescue her, and so it begins. Obviously they don't have police in their district because there's no way I'd mess with that creepy old woman. The gameplay was nowhere near as rewarding as I thought it would be. I walked around the first corridor looking for clues and picking up empty bottles and cans. There were notes posted around, some of them meant something and others were random. These notes were put in a kind of notebook for reference. One told me to follow the water, which led me into the dark. There was a weird creepy noise and I braced myself, but nothing happened and the light came back on. Another note told me that light and bullets were the things that killed, and a box suddenly appeared behind me with a gun inside. Thus armed with my torch and gun, I went to save the girl. However, there were 3 floors to the game, and they seemed to look almost the same. Some have different objects in the hallway, but in the near dark it got repetitive. Even more irritating was the fact that you couldn't collect and save anything, for example like the batteries, for later. Then I was introduced to the creepy spectres that kept popping up from time to time. Shine a light and shoot was the way to dispatch them. However, when the torch was continually running down on power and I had to hunt around for more batteries, it got very frustrating. That's why it was bonkers not to have a kind of satchel or backpack to collect these things. I had to remember where I'd last seen some spare ones, and with the torch being the main item that kept the creepies away, it was annoying to be looking for batteries instead of concentrating on the game. And if you don't find batteries before an attack, then you're dead, and the same thing applied to the bullets for the gun. At times I felt the game had a fairground haunted house feel to it, with spectres and people rushing at me, but only scaring me in a half-hearted way. Then I learned that the game had been in VR and it all made sense. The sudden darkness, the strange noises in the background, and the sudden flashes of spectres in your face. With a VR headset and headphones disconnecting you from the outside world, this would be the perfect way to experience this horror game, up close and personal, but I can only judge the game on Switch. I managed to finish 2 chapters before it became wearisome. I felt like a mouse in a maze, constantly moving along but not getting anywhere. I'm sure there was more to do in the later chapters, but the storyline or the gameplay made me inclined to go further. I have to be honest, the atmosphere of the game was chilling at the start and had me turning around waiting for something to happen. But it didn't. When the spectre did appear, to kill it with a bullet just seemed ridiculous as it went straight through it. Even at the end of the chapters, there was a sense of anticlimax in the way it went down. The positive for the game is the good effort the developers made to give the game a moody atmosphere. Negatives were there needed to be way more challenge and action, and it would be great to have the torch on permanently without the constant need to go looking for batteries. And the killing of the spectres with a bullet just wasn't right. There was also a strange glitch when I opened a drawer and tried to pick up an object inside. One of the fingers bent right back on itself and freaked me out more than the old crone. I enjoyed the visuals when it came to the backdrop of the game. There were old bottles, empty cans, bags of rubbish outside the apartments, and loads of buzzing flies. The whole look of the place was one of neglect and being run down. The actual characters were well rendered too. The sound was edgy, and there were plenty of strange noises, even if there was no reason for them. The voices were not the best I've heard, but they weren't the worst either. To conclude, I think the developers tried really hard to make a good game that had great promise but didn't quite deliver. There was far too much walking around aimlessly and not enough action. I think that if you're dipping your toes in this kind of genre for the first time and don't want anything too intense, then this game may be a place to start. But for seasoned players, I think it just misses the mark. I give this game 5 out of 10. Thanks for staying with me, and if you enjoyed the review, then like and subscribe, and why not join us in our Discord community? The link is below. If you're interested in a copy of Loco Parentis, then leave a comment below or in Discord, and we'll pick the winners on Wednesday the 12th of July. So take care out there wherever you are, because life is better when we game together.